Hello, friends, well wishers, and topical viewers on this KOK Live on Afia TV. You can watch us on uh, channel 254 on DSTV or channel 17 on GoTV or on all other social media platforms. When you follow Afia TV official, you will be viewing us. Welcome to the KOK Live. And it's a podcast we have just brought to educate, inform, and enlighten you on several topical issues. You're welcome. Today, we shall be discussing social responsibility versus creative freedom. The discourse around the new censorship policy. There was some few months ago, the news broke on social media, let me put it that way, that the National Film and Video Censors Board was trying to censor rituals, smoking, and other forms of happenings on Nigerian movies. And we know you can't stifle creativity. So we went to town and asked some questions. Topical amongst which was my engagement with my good friend, the DG of the Censors Board, Shihab Hussein. And Suhaib said to me, it is not a law against public interest. It is a regulation that's good for our children and teens and those yet unborn. Today in the studio, I have Barrister Chidi Ujatumba, a legal practitioner, human rights lawyer, and a public affairs analyst. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Barrister Keoge. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you.
And I want to tell you that I am one of the biggest fans out there.
Hooray, hooray. Now, creativity is something that you can manage, you can stifle, you can do a whole lot of things with it. And for a public enlightenment, do you think that we're now relating to the movie industry, even in music,
Okay.
the promotion of certain acts and conducts, do you see in any way that we promote courtesan, ritual in movie making, some words in music and so on? What is it for you?
Okay. In my own terms, I cannot use the word promote, but I can say that it has not really been, well checked. I think the censorship should have a standard of operation upon which if certain things crosses that standard, it will not be approved to be heard. Because one thing is very, very important. We must pay attention to the fact that movies are not based on righteousness. Movies are not based on reality. Movies are for entertainment. They are motion pictures. You understand? So they are a direct reflection of individual creativity. And it could be, checkmate. It could be looked into. Certain things could be, brought to a lower degree in such a way that it will not be as though those acts are being, glamorized. And if I will highlight the words of Mr. Shuaibu, I think he was highlighting the use of the word glamorize. When you glamorize something, you are trying to shed more light into that thing. You are trying to promote that thing. You are trying to tell people that this could be an alternate way of life. I think that's the thin line he is trying to maintain. The ability of the censor board to come right in and checkmate the use or the promotion of all these things, such a way that it doesn't become a way of life. We have a society that is already suffering from a moral decadence. And I think that every effort being made by every sector to promote morality, to promote virtue, to promote fairness and equity, it's a shot on the right direction.
Now, for those who are produce music and so on, can you really produce a musical video without glamorization? Does that mean encouragement or promotion, or can it be regulated?
It certainly can be regulated. There was a saying that I got to become familiar with when I was in the tertiary institution that goes in this way. It said that Budi has become the stone of the music industry. If you ain't shaking it, you ain't selling. So what are they trying to say? They're trying to tell you that there are some, these things have some cultures and some acts that goes with it. But we are in a society that is inclusive. Children can watch and younger people can watch. And there's a whole lot of people that can watch. And if you don't regulate the regulation that are placed on these televisions, your kids can watch things that are not supposed to watch. What I'm saying is that the extent to which we see certain obscene things or rituals should be checked. It cannot be reduced. It cannot be stifled. You can't try it. In short, any attempt to if I can use the word, any attempt to stifle it might be, an attack on an attack on our collective entire, creativity. You can't just do that anyhow. But to the extent to which, those things are being displayed in a movie, we can use euphemism, we can use sounds, we can talk about it in certain degree and to
you
certain
think
area.
we can achieve the same level of
we can. Sir.
What about politicians who carry money in Ghana must go back? Who taught them how to rig and how to carry Ghana must go back?
Okay, I have to really point out that some of our movies should also be proactive. It should be correctional. Yes, it should be correctional. When I was growing up, I was watching movies that were not really depicting the American police the way they are. They were being futuristic. They were telling the society, this is the way we want our police to be. So if we, despite the prevalent corruption that we are seeing in our politics today, we can, yes, look at it and do movies that actually correct those things. Movies that are pointing to a kind of a free and a fair political atmosphere that we envisage in our everyday of life, because those things has to be either by a protest or by a law being passed or by a galvanized political consciousness that can come in play and rather checkmate all those things. Movie has a long way to play in, controlling the consciousness of the people and also their expectation. So I believe that we can control that to an extent also.
When you control it, where lies creativity? Because one thing I know and I believe is that people are free to do things. I think the major thing should be to classify. And that's why you have 13 years, 16 years, 18 years, an adult. It should not be a job of classification.
It should be
censorship.
Yes, it should be a job of classification and censorship. But
you choose what to watch.
Yes, you choose what you watch, but you know that let me start from the family point of view. The family is the nucleus of every society.
Yes.
The mind of a child, psychologists used to say, is like a tabula rasa.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you start writing upon it at that tender age, it will definitely stick. Okay, you can control certain things, whether you are home or whether you are not at home. You are a father, you can bear me witness. It's not everything that you can control. But what we are saying that in the event that parental control fails and this kids have the opportunity to watch something that is above their age brackets, what they will eventually see, will it erode their morality? Will it, point them to a point or a direction that they can never come back anymore? What would they see? If the parents fail to put the necessary parental check in place, what would my son see? What would my daughter see? So that's exactly what we are talking about. That's where the control should lie. If we control that, let me tell you something. Back then in the 1980s, I think there was something that the former president, Alhaji Shehu Shagari, wanted to do in the area of agriculture, in the area of public enlightenment, and also in the area of orientation. So they went back and developed some programs, some movies like The Village Headmaster. They went back and developed some things that can now inculcate into the populace that sense of patriotism, that sense of nationality, that sense of working hard in any area where you find yourself in the public sector. So movies are very, very, very powerful. It's a very fundamental tool that can use to bypass every other sector and shoot directly straight into the mind of anyone that is watching it. You understand what I'm talking about? So if we are seeing a society where moral decadence has drifted down the precipice, if we have a society where morality, culture, and everything is a problem these days, I think a call for we cannot sacrifice morality and hard work in the altar of creativity. We cannot. There must be a balance. There must be a balance. Oh, come on. I agree with you that when you remove conflict in movie, it becomes nothing. It becomes absolutely nothing.
Because if I told you,
yes,
if I asked you now to tell me the story of that thing that happened 2 years ago, 3 years ago, where a woman said 36 million was swallowed by a snake.
A snake.
How would you
dramatize that? You cannot really dramatize that. We have to really, there must be a balance, sir. I believe there must be a balance. We are coming from a culture, we are coming from a traditional society that is embedded in this kind of morality that is enshrined within the circles of the family. African cultures are special. So in our bid to embrace the use of gun, in our bid to use rituals, in our bid to exhibit all these things that has to do with smoking and all the rest of them, we must also do that with the reflection that our society, it's not a society that is born and bred with this kind of life. Most of those things, we borrowed them. Let me give you an instance. Hip hop was never nothing. Back then in the 70s, back then in the 60s, even in early 80s, there is nothing like hip hop. I am one of the greatest exponents of the concept that when our youth sat down and consumed a large number of hip hop music and music that are in line with Afrobeat, they automatically took over the entire industry. So what you sit down to consume, what you sit down to look at, automatically over a short period of time, you will start exhibiting traits of what you are taking in, because that's how the mind of human being work. Yeah.
Where do you place the primacy between the messenger and the message?
Sorry, yeah. If you can a little bit rephrase it again, it will give me an ambience on how to tackle the discourse.
Now, you have a situation where a young man invites a lady to a hotel, uses her panties for whatever it is. How do you not dramatize that in a movie? Or looking at it this other way, there's a message to be given. Now, you mentioned about ritual, all right? There's a whole lot of lesson to be learned. Are we looking at the lesson, or those who give out the message?
Okay, if we are looking at the message, there are so many channels and avenues that we can use to pass across a message in a polarized society of our nature, without, deflecting morality, or without, glamorizing anything that the censor board could found, something that is not in line with their regulation. Okay, we can, in issue of rituals, the most important message in a ritual, in my own understanding, is that it is a quick fix, okay? It can make you look rich from the beginning, but towards the end of the whole movie, I've never seen a ritualist who, rightly succeeded. I've never seen one. I've never seen one. From the beginning of the movie, the ritualist and the ritual act could become the order of the day. It could become something that people are looking up to, but no ritual movie has ended making the ritualist the protagonist, if I can use that word.
And no ritual movie has also ended by the darkness overshadowing
the light. So the lessons could be displayed through things like a discussion. There's a way we should be looking at doing script that is rich with hard-boiled discussions, rich in words. They say that words are the most, effective vehicles that you can use to transform every message. If our script could be rich in words and less in ritual acts, even though the message is there, but one thing with what you see with your eyes. If I hear something and I also see it with my eyes, it goes a long way to stick in my memory. But if I hear it and I don't see the act, I think it's another way of, playing down the acts that I think the censor board will have something to do at the end of the day if we put into consideration the regulation. Yes.
So let me now ask you, what social responsibility does the actor, especially the producer, owe to the society?
Okay, I thought we were going to look at the social responsibility of the entire movie industry.
Okay.
And also
ahead.
these individuals that are found within their way of life. Let me start with those who are acting movie, okay? Because I could remember what Pete Edochie said after Things Fall Apart, Okonkwo. He said, up to today, kids are still asking me why I killed Ikemefuna. So it's something that adults took for entertainment, but kids took it serious because of the emotional line of the story. So what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say here is that those who are acting this movie in real life should draw a very big contrast between their belief, between the way their immediate community perceive them, between they have a role. Those who
but
actors,
then, like they
actors
say in
have a
Nigeria,
role.
you go explain tire. Are you going to? Am I okay? Going to the street telling people
No.
not a ritualist.
No. In your way of life, you have seen you exhibit all kinds of chains of businesses. You're not just into the business of movie, okay? So in your contact with people, how do they know you? Who is the man behind KOK? That's just the point I'm trying to make. Okay. Now, the industry on its own, should also look into entry level. What is the entry level into this industry? Those who want to become actors. I've heard stories. I've been invited to come and investigate and rather be a legal counsel to some people who were finding it so difficult to get a role because certain demands were made on them, which I think it's not very, very ethical in my own understanding. How is it possible that you can easily go into this industry and exhibit your God-gifted talent without people placing you upon a responsibility that is beyond your own personal capacity to provide? So the individuals in this industry has a role to play in promoting morality, both in the movie and also outside the movie. The industry also has a role to play in making sure that movies that are coming out, that they are championing morality, that they are showing that, they are beacons of light, enlightenment, and civilization.
Are you aware that on this podcast, if you removed your shirt and spoke without a shirt, it will sell more?
That is the, if I can.
That is where the money is.
Okay. That is.
As much as we want to encourage morality and so on, I'm telling you, we are in a new world with a new order. So, are we making movies for block rosary?
We're not making movies for block rosary. The glamorization and regularization is the key word here. There must be a conflict. That conflict must be resolved at the end of the day. But the actions that we are using to depict those conflicts should be checkmate for the upcoming society and also for the betterment of everybody who is a movie lover. I think there should be a certain, in my own opinion, I think our musical videos these days, it's not really what it used to be back in the days.
Should it be what it used to be?
It should be more of dancing,
if you say
more of beating.
If you say sanctimoniously, we should be walking this way.
No. We shouldn't be walking that way. I have watched superlative, well-produced musical videos that depicted scenes and dancing steps and beatings that can turn your mind around. But after watching it, you don't get another message.
At what age? For you should be in your late 40s or early 40s.
I mean, my early 40s.
And your daughter is 17 or your daughter is 15. What appeals to you does not appeal to her.
We cannot continue to feed the Gen Z generation what appeals to them. Their taste board.
Where the market is.
That is
the bottom line of business is profit.
I understand, sir. But you see, in our bid to correct this anomaly, we cannot continue to feed the Gen Z generation what they need. They also need entertainment. Okay, they also need virtue. They also need morality. All those things put together. You cannot just remove one and try to divorce it from the other. What we are saying is that there should be a certain level of nudity. There must be a certain level of smoking saints. There must be a certain level of ritual saints. The saints that depict the gory, or rather, the gory aspect of this should be limited. It should be limited. That's what we are saying. Conflict must be there. It must be resolved at the end of the day. Our movies should be rich in diction. It should be rich in diction. I can sit down and watch Shakespeare, things fall apart. Without thinking otherwise.
There was no
It has a role to
social
play.
media when Shakespeare was
I know
living.
it has a role to play. Okay, people still watch movies like Gladiators and Lord of the Rings. Okay, and still get
Those
entertained
ones are
at the end of the day.
blood-filled.
I know. Yes, they're blood-filled, but all of them are make-believe.
And when you see somebody throw a javelin, you see the creativity of the javelin hitting the target. When you see somebody cut off a head, you can see if they tell you the 360
Technology.
degrees, very good.
Technology.
Shouldn't this be what we should care about than the cutting off of the head?
Yes, we should also care about it. I think in one of my programs here, I have made mention of the fact that technology should be brought into movie production, because once technology is brought in, it will kind of add good effect to most of the things that we think that are gory. It will add technology will make it to be more appealing to those who are watching it. But for the fact that we don't have that, if I can call it 21st century technology, it makes it look sometimes a little bit gory and not appealing to those who are consuming these movies. So technology, it's something, and we cannot blame the government for technology not coming in. We blame stakeholders in the movie industry. They should bring more partners and then look at how they can bring in enough technology in movie production, because I know that it will be a very wonderful kind of a step forward for the stakeholders and also movie production in Nigeria.
So where do you place story writers? And
we've lost the best story writers back in the days
for the things you propose in terms of writings and the kind of stories, morality and so on. Script writers
have their role to play. Movie producers also have their role to play. If you give me a script that will depict, let's take for instance a scene where two people are having sex. Okay, now depending on the director of that movie, somebody can use sound to pass the message across.
What sound?
Somebody can use sound to pass the message across.
You don't know.
Somebody can use also scene to pass the message across. What message are we trying to pass across? The message we're trying to pass across is that this person and this person have been, or rather, have indulged in a sexual sin. That's just the message we're trying to. We mustn't show the body. We mustn't show all the things that we go about showing these days.
Don't you think that the creativity, my brother, lies in the ability of showing just a little of this, but you don't see the full thing?
Another thing
Are you aware that while we do certain things in secret, there are people who have not had any boza for some time, and it reminds them that something there.
I know it has its message, undoubtedly.
Very good.
Now let me point
out. When
you
think say they go do,
yes,
they don't do.
Flashpoint.
There are. Very good.
Now,
thank God you call it flashpoint.
But the timing of the scene is of importance here. I am not saying that you should remove it entirely. Its timing, that is where the censorship comes in. How many hours, how many minutes, how many seconds should such scene last?
Because I'm a practitioner. I sit at the ringside and I find out that is one of the selling points of some movies. To show some men who have not had maybe erection in some time, this is how it is. They go, they want to do. They get sleeping and so on. So if we remove these critical elements.
Let me say something here right now. Now, let's use sexual scene as an example. Mm-hmm. If people really want to enjoy watching people who are making love, they know the sites where they can go to get it. In every movie, the sexual scene is not the pivotal point, but these are side attractions that we put side by side to tell a very good and a wonderful story. So I don't think the time we spend in showing it should distract anyone who's watching the movie. That's my own personal point of view. They should be there, okay? They should be there. And they should be there to help to make the whole story look glamorous, but it should not exceed certain seconds or certain minutes. That's where I think the censorship should come in. But they should be there. That's what movie is all about. If you don't want to watch movie, go and watch Cartoon Network. Yeah. Go and watch Cartoon Network, or maybe go and watch CNN or any other thing. But the moment you pick up your remote control and you want to turn in a particular channel, brace yourself and be ready to enjoy the content with your full chest. There is nothing like it is this or it is that or it is that. So I think we should not also sacrifice entertainment
On the
in the
altar.
altar of regulation and censorship. So that's why I say there must be a balance, and there must be an understanding, and there must be a kind of a censorship board that is in tune with the market, in tune with the need for morality and certain virtues to be enshrined in the annals of our family circles.
You have then brought it home to ask how many percentage of this politics will play can be censored against the backdrop of those who become elected and then they start either saying, my brother, how you be? Because most of the things people see or learn or try to practice
exactly
is from practical experience of what they see.
Yes.
Which is why we're discussing this topic.
Exactly.
Now, what then do you situate along the same lines with for those who hold public office?
Okay, you mean their responsibility on this?
Yes. Social responsibility.
Social responsibility. Yes. How do I put it? Yeah, you know, he who pays the piper dictates the tune. Mm-hmm. Someone could be championing something before a political appointment, but as soon as the person gets into power, he or she will throw every other person under the bus and now start singing a new national anthem.
That's it.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that we should also remind politicians their words and their actions before political authority and after political authority should not be the same. Trust should be their watchword. And we should also look at laws that we could pass that could help to not just to censor, but to promote. Not just to censor, but to promote. The government have the wherewithal, okay, to work in partnership with the stakeholders in the movie industry to initiate moves and, you know, a partnership that could promote not just the promotion of movie, but also the enjoyment of Nigerian movies across the shores of this nation. When Nollywood started, it was so good all across the continent, but I don't know the extent of its enjoyment right now, because in my own opinion, I think the quality of the production reduced to an extent.
No, it didn't reduce.
Okay.
Because today I can tell you as a practitioner that we are not where we are supposed to be, but definitely we're not where we used to be. Okay. And what I'm saying in that sense is that the quality has taken us to other platforms like Netflix and so on.
Okay.
Shows you
let me tell you what I'm talking about. Quality in terms of content, not quality pictures.
Yes.
Not location.
In terms of
not
content.
Good pictures.
All around. I can tell you that.
Quality in terms of, you know, when I sit down.
Why I tell you this is because I flew from Washington to Lagos. I watched about at least 5 or 6 Netflix by Nigerians.
Okay, that's good.
So it shows you in terms of every aspect of the industry, sound, story, pictures, whatever it is, we have really gone above and beyond other African countries. I'm talking about other African countries.
Other African countries. Yes, of course, when it comes to movie production, Nigeria is flying the flag in Africa. Mm-hmm. And I believe that if all things have been equal, or if they have been
we'll never be equal.
If they have been given the necessary enabling environment that is required for them to fly, they will produce movies that can be put on the same pedestal with what we watch from the Western world.
Don't you think that the National Film and Video Censors Board should be more proactive in the areas of putting out messages that will encourage the society, just like the National Orientation Agency should be doing, to sensitize Nigerians about orientation of what a citizen's duty is?
Yes, there's a thin line here between what someone is doing. Where can you say that I'm learning what I'm doing, depending on your age? The National Orientation Agency, I don't know whether I'm permitted to use that word, is more or less like a moribund institution. They have lost total touch with what is going on. Also, the censorship board also has a role to play in sensitizing the people to do the right thing, okay, to know that one man's right to swing his arm should stop where another man's right to defend his nose actually begins, okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, in your bid to promote the excess of this thing, there is also an enabling environment that you're supposed to create for them not to take a negative route in their bid also to achieve a promotion. They have a lot to do. I must be honest with you. Those two agencies that you mentioned, they really, really have a lot to do. Working hand in glove with the family and education, I think they have a role to play. Because in my own understanding of the route that a child should go towards his path in development, watching movie is not one of them. So it's more or less like an entertaining thing. It's something that you do when you must have finished every other thing that you're doing. And there are control measures that can enable you to give access to someone. Okay, so it's more or less like a business. If you want to check the moral upbringing of any child, will have to start by holding parents to responsibility. How much are parents putting in? How much are churches putting in? And how much are institutions and tertiary institutions putting in the upbringing of the child?
Now you are coming to a point which I am of interest in.
So
how much has the church
put in
in the areas of creating a near perfect model for behaviors in families?
Yes.
I'm asking you that now.
Okay.
Because when you have the message of prosperity every week, does it help society?
It doesn't help.
If we blame everything on the promotion of these things on Nollywood and music industry, I think we are painting a very wrong picture.
No. I think, I have to say this. The message from the pulpit is even more powerful than the saints on movies. Because the loyalty and the way we see men of God, the way we revere them, whatever comes out of their mouth is like a lot to us. We on a scale of 1 to 10, we even tend to put it into practice more than what we see in movies. So this is a platform that we really need to, look into. Yes, the message of prosperity is good, but it shouldn't be all the message all the time.
What then do clerics owe as a social responsibility to the society?
They owe them the truth. You cannot...
Is truth not relative?
There is no... Truth is not relative. Truth is truth. There is no amount of prayer that can make anyone to be rich. After praying...
Say it again.
There is no amount of prayer alone that can... Even the Bible said it, that prayer without work is dead. So there's no amount of prayer. You can't lock yourself in a room, and there's no amount of intense prayer that can put food on the table of a man at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so when you finish praying,
we had an engagement with somebody before we came to the studio.
Okay.
Of this night vigil and praying all night and coming to work in the morning and so on.
No. It's an anomaly. When the amount of time you are putting into work is more than the amount, when the amount of time you're putting into church activities is more than the amount of time you're putting into work, already you are coming from a poverty point of view. You at the point that you may not even pay your tithes. Look, you may not even give offering in church. If you give more time to religious activities on a Sunday evening, on a Monday, on a Wednesday, on the evening, how will you work? I'm a legal practitioner. I know the amount of time I put into people's case before I could be able to have the wherewithal to stand in the court of law to talk. So if you don't have the prerequisite intelligence and knowledge required, how will you make it in this my field of business? And I know that the amount of work required in my field of business is also the amount of work required in people's business. When someone has made only prayer and attending church his only way of making money, that person will definitely be poor at the end of the day. There's no two ways about that. So I am kind of calling on religious leaders and our leaders to tell people the truth. The truth is that church is an organization that is propelled to channel towards purifying of your soul to go to heaven and see your God, okay? It's not a place where you can go to make money. No, it's not a place where you can go to learn how to be rich. If you want to learn how to be rich, attend business school in Lagos or Harvard and all the rest of them. Once you go there, it's a place where you are coming to meet your God, okay? It's a place where you're coming to be purified. It's a place where you're coming to have a kind of a relationship with the Almighty that brought you into existence. If we we can make more of our preaching to be more of, spiritual things and leave motivation out of it, leave business out of it, I think it would serve a better purpose than telling people that if you do this, you get money. If you that I've practiced all those things as a Christian and it did not pay me. So I have to tell people the truth. Okay, there is dignity in labor. There is a wonderful dignity in labor. And even St. Paul said, he who do not work, let him not eat at the end of the day. So even our Lord Jesus was a carpenter. So he didn't just come out of his mother's womb and then his ministry started. He started something. Jesus
did apprenticeship.
He did apprenticeship. And sir, there are wonderful skills, things like endurance, things like equity. Like equity is the best denominator of our humanity. It is during apprenticeship that you can learn these things. And without all these things, there's no way you can, you will never develop that spirit of entrepreneurship if you don't go through apprenticeship. It's like something that you can never do without. In our Igbo entrepreneurship and apprenticeship system, it is the unseen hand that have established big businesses, that have sold gold across the continent. Yes. Nobody can teach you that in Harvard University, because it is a place where you sit down with patients and you learn in every day of your life. And I think it's something that should be brought back into our educational system in order to help our younger ones to learn good business principles.
No, all right. Very good. Very well spoken. Now, let's go back to creative freedom. Don't you think that when you look at the potpourri of the things we make out of ourselves, like for instance, I wanted to get your impression about this spraying. Does it debase us? Does it, spraying money on others, does it debase us, or is it an abuse as a lawyer? What's your personal take on it?
Okay, my personal take on it, I think it's an abuse of the naira. Yes, it's a public abuse of the naira. And it draws an unhealthy contrast. I was watching a clips on the social media the other day where I think a graduation ceremony where they brought out a pupil and they were calling on parents to be spraying money on the pupil. And they wanted to know the parents that will spray either the more currency or the hardest currency or more money on the pupil. I don't think it's a healthy development. Let me tell you something. Competition brings out the best in products, but the worst in human beings. It's not. We don't need that kind of unhealthy competition. Spraying money is a public abuse on naira. There are so many ways you can give that money without the person.
On the naira.
Yes,
not the dollar.
Okay, if you're going to the dollar now.
Yeah, because what we're saying is, I can change my money to $1 and spray it at an event.
This is oh my God, how do I put this?
Are we looking
how
at
do I wriggle out of
spraying
this?
on money? Or you have to wriggle out
how
of it.
How do I wriggle out of this?
Find your way like an earthworm, wriggle out of it. So if it's not naira, it's not abuse.
The moral lesson behind spreading money publicly should, in my own opinion, should be extended to dollar. What impression are we trying to correct? Can't you give generously without spraying the actual currency? The owners of the dollar, sir. Sir, the owners of the dollar, do they spray it? They don't spray it. They don't spray it.
They don't come from the same culture with us.
Yes, we have been indoctrinated to believe that once you are spraying money high in a function, people are looking at you, they are doffing their cap, and they are basking in the euphoria that you are the most or the richest person that have attended that function. It's a public thing. Okay, can we spray something that will be changed into money at the end of the day?
Like what?
Like a fake money.
Fake money.
Or a fake dollar.
Is that not an infraction?
No, it's not an infraction. It's not an infraction.
Fake.
Yes. A paper money that if you now spray it on someone, they can see the amount you have sprayed at the end of the day. And at the end of the occasion, you can now give the naira equivalent of that.
Is it not, are we trying to live fake lives now?
We're not trying to live fake life, but we are giving the respect to naira to an extent, even though what I said is my own personal opinion. I know it's subject to other kind of criticisms, okay? Yeah, it's subject to other kind of criticisms. Can we abolish it totally? Or should we say, we can even mention the amount of money someone gave?
You're saying yes. There's no other way to turn this around.
So we can mention the amount of money. We can mention the amount of money. There's a way the MC can say, so chief have, supporting the bride and the bridegroom with 1.6 million naira. And the
and the 1.6
Yes.
How will you don't know that some people are so wicked that when you call them after, they say, who asked you? Who told you I'm going to give you 1.6?
It's okay. But if there is an understanding between people who have come to be part of your occasion and they've heard that probably if you spray money, EFCC will come after you, but they still want to give you money and they want the amount of money they are giving you to be well known, they can give you the authorization.
Because people take pride in that.
They take pride in it. Yes.
500,000
Yes.
finishes.
Or they can throw it.
They can throw it. And they can even
it.
go to the POS, the festival, the POS, and say, give me 2 more million.
Yes.
Because
and
the mission is calling their name.
Another form of regulation, sir, they shouldn't say, let money not be sprayed at all. But they can say, please, don't spray more than 100,000 naira in any occasion.
The fun is there.
Yes, the fun is still there.
The fun is there.
The fun is, it depends on how you see it. There's a way you can still bring in the fun and also give respect to the naira. We are trying to uphold the dignity of this naira note we call our currency. There's much behind it more than pride, okay? It represents a national interest. Okay, it depicts the value that we all share together. It depicts our collective value as a people. So if we keep on spraying it and stepping on it and throwing it around anyhow, I don't think it serves as a good example for the upcoming generation. But in my own opinion, the amount of money you spray could be limited, and you can even call money out through the MC if you don't really want to go on that kind of unending spree that can make people look like, the one that have given is absolutely nothing. I know it's pride. I know it's good. Even the white men have also tried to. I've watched some wedding organized in London and in the United States of America where they gather and they were spraying money. They are learning from us because it's a thing of pride. It's a thing of pride. It's just like telling a Yoruba man not to do Owambe. You understand? Not to wear colorful clothes on a day that all kinds of. It's a way of promoting our heritage and our culture, but. To an extent, we should look at the way it's affecting the value of naira and the way it's, showing an unhealthy competition in functions.
Smoking in movies or music. What's your take on the rate of drug consumption? Has it any way that is seen as a promotion and so on? Because I know I've spoken about it. Many people have. This impression. Yeah. You see some artists carrying brandy always on one hand, and why they're doing anything they are doing. Has it got any?
Okay, you are an expert in this field, and you can believe me that there are certain scenes or there are certain script that requires the exhibition of those things. It adds a certain credence to the quality of movie that you're trying to produce. But for it to be a regular and unending scene, whereby anytime you see that person is always carrying it, I think that's where the regulation should come in. You cannot do without such scene entirely. And again, in our bid to regulate, the tobacco laws does not even prohibit the smoking of cigarette entirely, but that rather it says that do not show it in movies and also do not show it in musicals. There are people who still smoke, and no matter what you do, people will still smoke at the end of the day. But let it not be a sign of promotion in the movies that we are watching.
My friend Shoaib Hussein says it is a global best practice and a demand of the National Tobacco Control Act 2019 that if you have a necessary smoking scene and or ritual scene, you must have the required health warning or mandatory warning before, during, and after, and the end of the movie. Musical videos and skits that is done everywhere. This obtaining, do you think that is going to go well for the creative enterprise?
Yes, if you can add such clause at the end of the movie. If you can add such clause at the end of the age bracket for the kind of movie you are required to watch, it goes a long way to put us in the know, the age bracket of the people who are expected to watch a particular movie. But now, if you now depict scenes of tobacco smoking or rituals and all the rest of them, if that regulation will be adequately put into practice, at the end of that movie, you can equally put something related to what is made mention of. Like in drinking, they can say, drink responsibly, or if you're not up to this, this is only for those who have crossed the age of 18. There are certain clauses that can be put at the end of a particular movie when saying that has to do with smoking or rituals has been depicted in order to checkmate, or rather to warn people. I think it's a warning sign to warn people.
In most, like when you watch some foreign news, they will say graphic pictures, viewer discretion,
advice.
Yes. Beginning. So how do you do that? How do you do that in a movie? It's through classification.
Yes, it's true.
And classification is 16 years.
It's 16
it means
years.
If you're not up to 16, how many people in Nigeria stop their children who are even from watching an adult movie?
There are a lot, but you can't really. I don't have the data. Yes,
there are very few.
Definitely,
because most homes that are disconnected or something like don't have any way to tell the kids you can't watch this.
Okay, let me say
is that one you tell them not to watch that they go and watch
they'll definitely watch. Okay, there was a kind of, I was working with a non-governmental organization and we did like a community survey. We are trying to see what really affects people below the age of 16, most especially. Is it what they watch or the association that they keep?
Very good.
And if I tell you the outcome of this survey, you will jump out of your skin.
Tell us.
We found out that what people watch on a regular basis affect their psyche. But if they don't find themselves in an enabling environment of people who do the kind of things that they have watched, they will never develop the appetite to now carry them out. Now, we also find another part of the survey showing that even when people don't watch any scene, like smoking scene or a scene that depicts sex or ritual, once they keep company of people who talk about them, who do them, the frequency
or regularity, as
yes, of which they can use to start carrying out that kind of a thing, it's very, very high. So in our survey, we rated that association, contacts, and people you spend quality time with goes a long way to influence how many people can start smoking because they saw someone smoking on a movie. I don't think the number will be definitely very, very low. I think the number will be definitely very, very low. But if you are in a company of people who smoke and probably they are your they're your role model. They're your role model. You know, role model plays an important role here. Role model. I think we have to talk about that. Once you are, like I said from the beginning of this show, when I started watching movies, I kind of found myself out of any particular scene, liking the things you do because of the brevity behind your actions and how it turns out at the end of the day. So you become my role model. And if I see you promoting something, there's what we call unconscious competence. Without me knowing it, already I'm liking the page you are liking. I'm commenting on pages that you are commenting. I am trying to be part of a discussion where I saw you aired an opinion. So role model has a way of playing a role here. Because if you see that someone that you really, really cherish or someone that you hold to high esteem, do a particular thing all the time, or maybe he's a drunkard, or even in the movie or in real life, he drinks all the time. If you find yourself, struggling with the habit of drinking, you will not see it as a problem because your role model, the person that you are looking up to, does it over a number of times, and no, he has never criticized it. So our role models, those who are you will revere, those who we see as champions in the industry, should also come out openly to speak against certain things, and also to say, there's a way you can now show what do you call it? How movies were made to at the end of a movie to show people.
Yeah, like they always do in Hollywood.
In Hollywood,
no animal was harmed.
No animal was harmed.
Yes,
that thing was not a real smoke. Okay, these things are make believe. It will go a long way to ameliorate the kind of if I could use the word, the kind of effect that governmental people would think that such saying will have on the mind of the young ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we haven't got much time.
Okay.
But the fact is, as we roll to the end of the podcast, one would want to, how do you think government can work more closely with those who practice entertainment? Because, I mean, it's an individual thing. It's not government does not sponsor movies.
Yes.
Government gives access to, and so on. So it's always a fight when government tries to come in and say, you can't do this, you can't do this. People will always want to fight. So what role do you see for government to bring a necessary working relationship with those who are movie makers without necessarily
being directly involved, like a catalyst that will speed up a chemical reaction without being part of the reaction. Exactly. Now, I will suggest 2 ways. The government has to partner with stakeholders in the movie industry to have maybe a kind of either a TV program or a soap opera that will be targeted towards promoting creativity. Just on creativity. It could be a prize program that will be targeting the best script writers or anything within the range of those who are younger ones that will focus on their mind, because we need people like you to take over the industry when you grow old. We have to start looking out for them, using things that they can also relate with. I'm not saying things that they cannot relate with. If you bring out a soap opera, or rather a kind of a TV program, or like we had Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, or something like a contest that will challenge their creativity to write script or to direct a short program that will be displayed and judges will sit and then they can pick the best persons and then they can sponsor them to start promoting their own movie. Now, you know the importance of Hollywood in American movie. There's actually a place. It's not just a thing. It's a place built for movie production. Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, when we have such world-class movie production avenue where we can come and you can do all kinds of stunts, you can do all kinds of things that you want to do, and then it will be a PPP, government-private partnership, because it costs money sometimes to replace things that are damaged during movie. The government can say, we are bringing this facility for you guys, okay? But now, for it to be refurbished and replenished, to be in tune continuously to serve every generation for movie production, we will be giving out a certain percentage of money into the coffers of those who are using it. It's an enabling environment, and it will be in a place that will be well secured, that even though there are insecurity all around the nation, you can still use the facility to produce the kind of movie that you want to produce. So going into a kind of a program or a TV program that will buttress originality and creativity is one thing, or the other hand, and also establishing a movie production center or an avenue is another thing. We can also look at, partnership, okay? Our stakeholders can also partner with foreign producers, foreign actors. Sometimes the logistics and the visa issue of this problem coming into Nigeria could be something that the federal government can look in, because they are coming for business. They are coming to encourage our local production. I know what it would be like if you are doing a movie and you have, people like foreign actors coming in to stir in your movie. The location is here in Nigeria, and it will add a whole lot of credence in that movie, and it will also help to make sure that the marketing cuts across board. So people are watching it because of KOK, and other people are watching it because of maybe Wesley Snipes, who is also in the movie. So it helps to create all this enabling environment, and I think it's a wonderful one if they can look into that to make sure that our movie, take its place among every other movie industries in the whole world. Yes.
All right. I think that's what we'll take exit for today. It's been a very big pleasure having you, Chidi.
It's an honor.
It's an honor. Ujatumba and Company,
Yes.
And Co. We have exhausted this topic today, but it can be fully exhausted. Social responsibility and creative freedom. It's been a very beautiful broadcast for today, and we thank you and hope you learned one or two things. The fact of the matter is the movie industry, the music industry are all agencies or agents of the creation of jobs,
Yes.
creation of goodwill,
Yes.
creation of a whole lot of things that make society. We can't take away the fact that there are...
It's a volatile industry.
It's very,
it needs to be flexible. Very flexible.
Yeah, it needs to, a lot of things need to be brought into the picture to
Yes.
make good movies and so on. But I want to reiterate, the movie industry in Nigeria, to which I play an active role and part, It's not where it's supposed to be, but definitely not where it used to be. We've come of age in terms of quality, in terms of quantity, in terms of a whole lot of things.
Yes.
And it's doing particularly well. But there's more to be done. So, Chidi, thanks for being on the podcast today.
It's such an honor to be on this program with you.
All right. We look forward to inviting
Thanks
you
for having
more
me.
things. Thank you very much.
Thanks.